The shear tool allows you to skew part of your image. It basically turns a rectangular selected area into a parallelogram, and you can control exactly how significant the angles are between the horizontal and vertical lines of that parallelogram. So let's take a look at how it works. As with the other transform tools, you'll have to specify in this first option whether you want to adjust a layer, a selection, or a path. We'll be working with this layer for this example. I've got this red box here with a green border and some yellow and black lines to help you see what the effect is. We've got the direction. The normal or forward mode is probably the most intuitive, but there is also a corrective mode which you can use, and we'll look at that a little bit later. We've got the interpolation, which basically tells the computer how you would like it to make the calculations for applying the transformation. For the most part, they're just listed in order of how processor intensive the method is versus the quality of the final result. So cubic is actually a pretty good option. It kind of it gives a good result without being too labor intensive. If you're trying to play around with applying the effect over and over again to see exactly how you want to get it, you might want to use none while you're playing around with it, and then switch to cubic when you're actually going to apply it for real. We've got the clipping here, which tells the computer how to clip the final image, what parts will get cropped out of the final image. So with adjust, it basically will just adjust your image to include whatever is the final result is. It doesn't really clip it at all unless it goes off of the canvas. So then we've got the show preview option. This basically just allows you to see what your final result will be before you actually apply the effect. And we've got this image opacity slider here, which will allow you to see both the original selection unmodified and the modified selection as you are playing with it. So if you turn it down to halfway, you'll be able to see both one laid over the other. And then the guide section is just gives you some additional guidelines while you are skewing the object, and you can set it to a number of different styles of guidelines, but the number of lines just allows you to give it a grid pattern to help you see exactly how it will be skewed. So let's take a look at how it works. You just come over here to what you want to skew. In this case, I've got my layer. It is simply this red box, and I can just click and drag, and if I drag to the side, you'll see that it skews to the side. You can see the what the new image will look like and what the original image looks like overlaid one another because of this image opacity here. We also get this dialog box, which helps us if we want to dial it in by a number here, and we can also reset it if we decide we don't like what we see. Now you can skew it horizontally or vertically, but it does not seem that you can skew it in both directions at the same time, so you'll have to apply one and then the other. Once you've got the skew the way you like it, you can either hit the shear button here or simply click return, hit enter on your keyboard, and it will apply the skewed effect. Now let's just go back and take a look at some of the options in a little more detail. So with the clipping, with the adjust, it skews it and everything is shown. If we set it to the clip mode, however, you can skew it, but your original selection area will crop. Anything that falls outside of that area will be cropped out of the image. So if we skew it like this and we apply it, we'll see that the image has been skewed, but everything that falls outside of this original area has been cropped out of the image. If we go back and we apply the crop to result, this will also crop your final image. It will basically crop it so that you have a rectangle to maximize the amount of the final image that fits within a rectangular space without having any transparent area as part of the selection. So as you can see, it's like this. And the crop with aspect ratio will crop in on your final skewed object but it will maintain the original aspect ratio. So it will maintain this same sort of rectangle, but it will crop in so that there is no areas that don't have part of the object within them. So if we go like this, we've got something like that. And finally, we can take a look at the corrective or backwards method of using the shear tool. It basically, instead of applying this new shape to the image, it takes this shape from the image and applies it in reverse. So instead of skewing this corner over to the right, when we apply it, it actually winds up skewing it over to, let's put the adjust back on so we can see the whole thing. It winds up, instead of moving this corner to the right, it actually winds up moving it to the left because it takes the information from the overlaid grid and pushes it into the original selection area. So this is the shear tool. It is perhaps a little bit simpler than all these options make it appear at first, but it can be a useful tool if you're trying to adjust the shape of something.